got a huge game. We got everything riding on this thing.
We've been preparing for this the entire year. We want to finish it. We want to win all the marbles.
United we stand salute.
A lot of state pride on the line.
United we stand salute.
The Iron Bowl is one of the great rivalries in the country.
You can't understand the roots.
Rivalry is the lifeblood of college football.
This is Bedlam.
For 4 quarters, it's him or me.
Let's go. We gon' fight till we conquer. The price of the victory is part of the process.
Touchdown!
That will be forever ingrained in the lore of this rivalry.
It's just the beginning. We're getting started. Let's go.
Where else would you rather be?
United we stand salute.
Just when you thought things couldn't get crazier, it's another Saturday of chaos. I'm not talking about my spectacular Santa Claus Christmas shirt. It is that time of the year. I'm talking about Rivalry Week, and it has lived up to the hype. It's a college football show presented by AT&T 5G. He's Skubie Mageza. I'm Jason Fitz. We're doing the same thing you're doing right now, which is watching Alabama with the ball. Look, it has been a crazy week, and yet again, as we say every Saturday, you don't want to be ranked in the top 4 because you have no idea what the hell's going to happen. As we speak, I thought 3 minutes ago, Auburn had this thing locked up. Now we sit with under a minute to go. Bama with the ball and driving down 10-3 in the Iron Bowl, Skubie. It is unreal. We have watched Auburn's defense today play, and we'll keep you updated on it as it's happening. We have watched Auburn's defense just absolutely manhandle the offensive line, particularly for Alabama.
Yeah.
We've watched them reset the line of scrimmage, and now, just when you thought the whole thing was over, Bama's rolling. I have no idea what to expect.
Yeah, the game is always won in the trenches, and that's what we're seeing in this game. Alabama went for it on 4th and 1, just about in the middle of the field, and the Auburn defensive line basically pushed the line of scrimmage backwards. You don't see Bama lose those physical battles, and they're losing that physical battle tonight, but it is 3rd and 7. 48 seconds left. They have a timeout called. There's a lot of playoff implications here, Fitz.
So if you've never watched it before, it's a college football show, again, presented by AT&T 5G. And what we do for this hour is we get you caught up on all the action from today, the best highlights, the best plays, everything. And we set the table for what you'll expect tonight with Bedlam. So on Rivalry Week, that was absolutely huge, the game that we were all looking for is the game, right? Ohio State taking on Michigan. Top 5 matchup. Winner heads to the Big Ten Championship and a clear path to the college football playoff. Snowing, cold. It just felt like a great football Saturday. CJ Stroud here to Garrett Wilson for an amazing, amazing catch. Take another look at this, Skubie.
Climb the ladder, young man. My guy's got friends in high places, which is why he has a high amount of touchdowns this year, Fitz. His 12th of the season.
Now we pick it up here. Hassan Haskins had an epic day, gets in. That makes it 14-10, still in the second. Now we pick it up in the third quarter. Haskins, a name I'm just going to keep saying over and over. This time 13 yards out. 13 sometimes can be lucky because it put the Wolverines up 21-13 in this one. Now, just when you think maybe it's over, one of my favorite receivers to watch this year has been Jackson Smith and Jigba. And look at this catch he's about to make. Stroud rolls out. And, I mean, through a body.
Wow.
How that wasn't called interference, I don't know, but he holds on to it.
That's like in Madden when you put the game sliders up. I've said it before, Fitz, and that was a game slider catch. Sheesh.
Woo! Now we pick it up in the fourth quarter. Haskins says, you know what? I can play Madden too. Look at it. Turbo button. Turbo button.
Oh, my God.
Leap. Leap! Oh, breaks off the 27-yard run.
Oh, my Lord. The man is a hurdler.
Yeah.
Get him in the Olympics. Watch this. Perfect. Whoops. Timing. How does he do that, Fitz?
That's guy with the stretchy groin. All right, here he picks it in 4 yards out for this 5th touchdown of the day. Again, 5th, walks in untouched.
Oh, my Lord. The first player in Ohio State-Michigan rivalry to score 5 touchdowns in a game. Have a day, sir. Yeah. Have a day.
Well, it was a day for Michigan as they get the 42-27 butt kicking of the Buckeyes. And that's just, it wasn't a close game. C.J. Stroud, 34-49. You see it there. 2 touchdowns. Efficient enough, but this was all about Haskins, 28 rushes, 169 yards, 5 touchdowns. There's so many firsts here. Michigan Jim Harbaugh gets his first win over Ohio State. You think about Ryan Day takes his first loss in the Big Ten as the head coach ever, which is insane to think about. And frankly, Michigan came out and just dominated. We knew coming in that Michigan can run the ball and that that's a weakness for Ohio State. I think the stunning part of it was to see that Ohio State, for all the acrobatic catches they had, Ohio State had no answer for the pass rush. Ohio State had no way to get rhythm offensively. They looked lost on what they were trying to do.
Yeah, the last 19 winners of this series is the one that won the rushing attack. So that's the formula in order to win this rivalry game. If you win the rushing game, you're going to win the game. And this is the most rushing yards that Ryan Day has ever allowed in this series. Matter of fact, this is the most rushing yards he's ever allowed at Ohio State as a coach. And we know this is the only time he's lost at that position in the Big Ten.
Well, and I mean, obviously, it continues the trend. It feels like we see number 2 teams slide a lot this year.
Isn't that crazy? It's like the third time.
It's weird, and now Ohio State, with their second loss, is presumably
Touchdown, Bama!
Well, I'm just going to interrupt you live. There is a stunned and shocked look because there were literally tears rolling from Auburn fans 3 or 4 minutes ago as they thought they had the Iron Bowl won. Alabama has just scored a 28-yard touchdown. Bryce Young on a little outside route, and it is just it's well done. It's well thrown. The DB couldn't get to it. It's perfectly placed, and it's a touchdown for Alabama. So now, a game that was 10-3 with a minute to go, and Alabama tied it, was in at their own 5-yard line. They have now, in the last minute and a half of the game, gone 95 yards to score a touchdown. We are pending the extra point. It's obviously under review, as all scoring plays are.
Wow.
As we see the review, we'll keep you updated. That's what we do on the show. We're just hanging out with you just like you are to see. We're going to take a look at this and see if we can figure out what the officials are looking for. But I can't see anything there that
live television, y'all. Yeah. We're just going with the punches here.
And this is too important for us to just start talking about something else. So we're going to let it live. I mean, that looks like he's in.
He has a foot in for sure.
It looks like he's in. And there's control of the ball all the way to the ground. So
I mean, to start the drive from where they were and to drive down and score, I thought this game was over for Alabama. I mean, this response has been impressive by them, Fitz.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, just a couple of minutes ago, fans were crying in the stands wearing their Auburn gear because they realized that they'd won the Iron Bowl. I mean, this is a team that got the ball back after a 4th and 1, and it looked like they were going to be able to essentially run out the clock. And the review is in. It is a touchdown. So now we are pending the extra point. So right now the score is 10-9. Auburn is up by 1. And, Skubie, I'll tell you while we wait for the extra point. Have I ever told you my kick 6 story?
Did we hear it?
So, kick 6. This is a true story. At the time I was on tour, I was a musician. We'll see the extra point come in here. I'll keep everybody updated before I bore them with my story of touring. But the kick's not up yet. So I was out with the band Perry at the time, and we were touring in Europe during the Iron Bowl. And a bunch of the guys in the band at that time were big Alabama fans. And so me being a big college football fan was all in for it. The kick is up, and the kick is good. So we are tied. So we're watching the Iron Bowl on a tour bus in the middle of Europe, like somewhere, I think it was Germany. And like we're driving around trying to get it, and the reception's in and out because you're watching on some random website in the middle of Europe, right? So as the game came to an end, the laptop quit. We couldn't get the service, and all the guys that were Alabama fans started drinking and celebrating on the bus because they'd won the game. We went to bed. Wake up the next day, the kick 6, we had no idea it happened. It was the kick 6 hit. Went to sleep thinking that Alabama won, only to wake up to see that Auburn had won instead with the kick 6. This game is tied. We'll keep you updated on how it goes as there's 24 seconds left. Now, that's the number 2 team in the land, or number 3 team in the land, I should say. The number 1 team in the land didn't have any drama for their rivalry matchup. Georgia Tech hosting number 1 Georgia in this game. And we didn't expect it to be much of a game. First quarter, Stetson Bennett had a day, y'all. Just steps up. Whoop, Jermaine Burton, 25-yard pass. Dogs go up 10-0. He's just getting started. Bennett here says, you know what? Brock Bowers deserves the ball.
That's a big boy moving. Is that a Hemi?
That's 24-0 at the half is what that is, which we're getting used to. Third quarter. Bowers again. Up, and away!
That's what you call
9-yard
getting
touchdown.
mossed. Get up up there and get it, boy. That's a big man doing big-time things.
Yeah, Georgia Tech was outmatched from the outset of this. That was a nice catch. Bennett, 4 touchdown passes. Georgia shuts out Tech 45-0. Just an efficient, I use that word a lot on this show, but Stetson Bennett had an efficient day, 14 of 20, 255 and 4 touchdowns. Made everything look easy. And again, I don't think we got any big surprising, staggering result out of this, but Georgia got the last sort of warm-up they're going to get before the SEC championship game, where they will take on Alabama. No matter what the outcome of the Iron Bowl is, they will take on Alabama. So, for Georgia, I don't know that there's a big takeaway other than the fact that now for the season, their defense is giving up under 7 points a game per average. Under 7 points a game for the season. That is a stellar number. I don't care who you're playing against.
Yeah, the third shutout of the season, first FBS team to hold its first 12 opponents to 17 points or less to start the season. Their defense is hitting their peak stride, and so is Stetson Bennett. This is a huge game for him to be able to play like this because they're letting him gain his confidence heading into the SEC championship. And what they've been doing is, we've seen them do that 2-quarterback kind of rotation type of thing, but now they're letting him get his confidence up going into that game with Alabama, and that defense is rolling. So well done.
If you're just tuning in for the first time in Iron Bowl history, the first time ever, we have overtime. Alabama has tied the game with seconds left. We are headed to overtime. So we'll keep you updated on that game as it happens. But we also want to get you some of the best highlights from the rest of the day. So let's get some Big 12 action in. Texas Tech, Baylor. Blake Shapen getting his first start. And he starts with a bang. Look at this 61-yard bomb.
Boom. Hadouken. Tristan Ebner. He says, you can't hold me. Hey, he had 4 catches, 118 yards receiving in this one. One of the best dual back threats in the country.
Look at this here. Donovan Smith going to find Kalen Geiger. Geiger with a spectacular grab.
Mossed. Shit. How many did he do it to? That's 2 people on the head, Fitz. 2.
That's not only athleticism, that's also strength holding it down. Brooks running in for the touchdown. Texas Tech back in it down 17-10 at that point. We go to the fourth quarter. Smith is going to drop back, finds McLean Mannix, 38 yards downfield for the score there.
Man, this game, they found a way to just stay close the entire time. You'd think Baylor's pulling away, but they came back.
Yeah, Baylor driving with the ball here. Shapen finds Ben Sims in the back of the end zone.
Roll, big man, roll. Longest play Baylor has allowed this season, 75 yards. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, and this came down to the end. They had the chance to tie it at the very end, a 53-yard kick.
Psych.
Wide left. Oh, I didn't think he'd have the leg. It turned out he did, but he couldn't get it in the way he wanted. So the Baylor redshirt freshman getting his first start today for Bohannon gets the win. So congratulations to Blake. And Baylor gets the win, so now they'll await the outcome of Bedlam to know if they're going to have the opportunity to play for the Big 12 championship. They are currently the number 8 team in all the land. You see that. They are ranked below Oklahoma State. They are ranked above Oklahoma. So this is very simple. The outcome of tonight's game will impact this. If Oklahoma wins tonight, I'll have to check that. I'll double check it. I get it confused every time. If Oklahoma State wins today, then Oklahoma State will play against Baylor.
Yep.
But if Oklahoma State loses, then Oklahoma State will play Oklahoma for the Big 12 championship game. A lot of Oklahomas in there. Very confusing. Baylor controlled as much of their own destiny as they could with the win.
Yeah, and you got to love Baylor, just the way that they've been playing, coming up every single week, getting better and better. I think it was ever since they lost to Oklahoma State in that game. It was a tight one between those two, and they've just become a better and better physical team.
Yeah, and I think Baylor, realistically, we got to give a little credit. A couple of things about Big 12 football this year. So much of the conversation has been about who's not going to be in the Big 12, Skubie. And A, I think that's a disservice to the football that's being played this year. But B, and we'll talk about this as we preview tonight's game, defense is better than it gets credit for. The running game is better than it gets credit for. There's physical football happening out of the Big 12. And Baylor has proven that they are now the type of program that no matter who the coach is, no matter where they are, they're the type of team that can win 9 or 10 games, which means they're the type of team that can put themselves into the national championship conversation year in and year out. So obviously, I think there's a lot to credit there. Auburn, Alabama is in overtime. We'll keep you updated on that as we get some more details in that. But tonight, it's Bedlam. Number 10 Oklahoma visits number 7 Oklahoma State. Primetime on ABC. Holly Rowe reporting for the sideline from the sideline for the game sent us this report.
gorgeous night in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Even the sky knows it's Bedlam with clouds the color of Oklahoma State. They are the favorites in this game, but they do have an injury question mark. Their 1,000-yard rusher, Jalen Warren, he is questionable for this game. He did practice some this week. We're going to go take a look at him in warm-ups and see if he is good to go. For Oklahoma, they have got to be more efficient on offense. Caleb Williams struggling a little bit in the passing game. They have been really struggling on third down, converting those third down conversions. I think they're 5 and 21 in their last 2 games at third down. So they have got to be better on offense. Let's see who wins at Bedlam. A lot up in the air. Oklahoma State trying to get to the Big 12 championship game. They are already locked in. It would be their first Big 12 championship since 2011. And the Sooners trying to keep their college football playoff and 7th straight Big 12 championship hopes alive.
Now, we talk a lot about strength versus weakness, right? And I think it's such an underpart. Like in the NBA all the time, we acknowledge that certain teams just are bad matchups against certain teams. We don't necessarily acknowledge that, I think, as much as we should in college football. Like sometimes things just don't work the way your programs are built. Michigan State, Ohio State a few weeks ago comes as a great reminder of that. This game feels like it has that potential to me, Skubie, because I'm looking at an Oklahoma State defense that is really, really good, taking on an Oklahoma offense that has looked really clueless often. Like, not only does Caleb Williams have to play well, but Oklahoma has to run the ball. And I'm not sure that that's something that anybody's capable of, that Oklahoma, I should say, is capable of doing against Oklahoma State. I think this Oklahoma State defense is absolutely being slept on, and they're very good. So I feel like it's the strength in this matchup.
Yeah, most definitely. And the way that Oklahoma is going to find success, in my opinion, is running the ball with Caleb Williams, because when you run the ball with the quarterback, you have an extra blocker ahead of you, because usually when you run the ball, you hand it off to your running back, and then the quarterback sits there. But if you have your quarterback run the ball, you have that extra blocker. And Caleb Williams has shown to be an effective runner for this offense. But the problem is he's been having trouble throwing the ball, and they've been doing this little QB carousel thing lately. So this is the game for him to do something spectacular. We've seen him do it, but this Oklahoma State defense, Fitz, they have one of the best ones in the entire country, especially that front seven.
Yeah, and we see Caleb Williams warming up here. Like, there are certain moments, you can't always just look at the numbers, because the numbers on Caleb Williams don't look bad. And there have been some highlights this year for Caleb Williams that have been epic. We know that. The Kansas game comes to mind. But there have also been just moments where you're looking at it and saying, the hell is he doing out there? And that's real, you know? That's a huge part of it. And then you look at somebody like Malcolm Rodriguez that's going to be on the other side, like 5th most in school history when it comes to 375 tackles. But somebody that tackles for loss, you're talking about a disruptor. He puts you in negative down and distance situations, which has not been a strength for Caleb Williams. So I think, you know, so much of this comes back to what feels like, for me, a lack of faith and trust in Caleb Williams. That being said, Oklahoma State needs to be able to run the ball well in this game, and I'm not sure that they've shown that they can do that either. Like, this is not your usual this is not your usual Big 12 matchup where we expect it to be 127 to 117 in the final score. Like, Oklahoma State, when they run the football well, is virtually unstoppable. You see Jalen Warren right there. In the last couple of games, they haven't run it as well as they would like. So I think it's a key moment for Oklahoma State that has to be looking ahead of them in the rankings and saying, man, there's opportunity.
Oh, yeah, especially with the madness that's going on right now. They have an opportunity to you mentioned it, Fitz. What are they going to be able to do on offense? What are they going to be able to do as a team? They have this Oklahoma offense that has looked suspect more this season. We saw what they did against Kansas. We saw what they did a number of times this season where it had us kind of scratching our heads. I think that it's going to be one of those tight games that comes down to it at the end.
Yeah, and you know, you mentioned sort of the running and Caleb Williams and what he does well. I think the problem is because there hasn't been really anything to focus teams away from Caleb, they've been able to look at Caleb and say, hey, let's just not let Caleb cook, right? Like, as oversimplified as that sounds. And there's a real question here if you're looking at the Big 12, because the CFP is I mean, we're down to the wire, right? And we watched Ohio State lose today, which is going to create opportunity for everybody to move up, including but not limited to Michigan. We're watching right now Auburn and Alabama. Alabama has scored. They are ahead in overtime. Auburn has the ball with the opportunity to answer. So we'll see how this game plays out. But man, there's a real opportunity to see chaos in the top 4. And I think there's a fair question about the Big 12 champion leapfrogging Notre Dame as the number 4 team in all of this. Because let's not get it twisted. Notre Dame has a real chance to move up to we have a chance to see Cincinnati at 3 and Notre Dame at 4. That's real.
Exactly. So think about it like this. A Big 12 champion has to beat Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, or Baylor. And they're going to have to beat one of those teams twice, right? And when you talk about resume, when you look at what the CFP committee is going to look at the end of the day, at that point in time, does their resume hold up to a high degree than Notre Dame? I think the answer to that question is yes, especially if Alabama loses today and we had Ohio State already lose. And then you brought up the madness of what if Georgia loses to Alabama in the SEC championship game? There's a lot of different possibilities that can happen right now, which would make this so lovely.
Yeah, I always remind everybody, because I get asked all the time, what my favorite college football team is. There's one team in all of sports that I live, eat, breathe. My week is controlled by. That's the Las Vegas Raiders. Like, I am an NFL Las Vegas Raiders fanatic. When it comes to college football, it's my favorite thing in the world to cover because I don't have a favorite team. So I root for chaos. And when I look at it, I'm like, man, the more chaos we could get out of this, the better. I want Cincinnati to end up being the number 1 team in the country somehow, just because it'll make a lot of people that watch really angry, and I love that. So that being said, I agree with you. I think the Big 12 has a big opportunity, and I think specifically Oklahoma State has a big opportunity because I think they win this game. I'm taking Oklahoma State tonight. Who you got?
Definitely going to Oklahoma State. They've shown the most consistency, and they've been the most stable this year.
Yeah, well, and that's going to be the interesting thing is, can they win with enough style that it continues to move them up? What I know is that you authenticate, tell them who your provider is. Every second of the action, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. You can watch it on ESPN in the app. You can watch it on ABC. And in the meantime, we're keeping you updated on the overtime matchup we have right now. For the first time in history, the Iron Bowl is in overtime. Alabama scored a touchdown on their first possession, and Auburn has just scored a touchdown as I speak. Like, y'all, I will always be real with you. We are watching this on a side TV in the studio the same way you are. I'm just trying not to get myself fired by saying something that I can't say on air. Great touchdown pass. What a pretty dime. Squeezes it in. So we now have 17-16 pending, whatever Auburn decides to do. Remember, in the new rules of college football, you get 2 overtimes, and then it's just 2-point conversions. Auburn is going to kick. So whereas we saw earlier in the season, for example, Kansas went aggressive with a 2-point conversion, Auburn's going to be kicking, and Auburn kicking it's up, and it's good. The kick is good. We're headed to double overtime. And you see the score here. Minnesota pulling off the upset because why not? Because, nothing can go as planned. I really
Wisconsin, you had a chance.
I spent the afternoon building scenarios in my head for how Wisconsin could do the unthinkable and upset Michigan now in the Big Ten championship game. Like that Wisconsin defense a lot. That Wisconsin defense is not enough, though, to get them over the hump. Obviously, 3:21 left. We'll see if anything changes. But right now, Minnesota is trying to do 2 things. Play their way into the Big Ten championship game and also get Paul Bunyan's axe. I don't want to understate the importance of a large 6-foot axe.
I love Paul Bunyan's axe. I mean, that is the coolest thing.
It is. That axe is, it's fancy pants. Speaking of fancy pants, football in the snow is always fancy pants. Oh, yeah, the buyout bowl. Mel Tucker got paid. James Franklin got paid. And now they had to play. Look at this. Kenneth Walker III bulldozes in the end zone. Spartans go up 7-0 early. Made it look easy early on, but then Sean Clifford let one rip to Jahan Dotson. I am a Bolitnikoff Award voter, humble brag, for Best Wide Receiver of the Year. Dotson was my number 1. Whoop. Don't ask me how he's not a finalist. Whoop. It's absurd.
Oh my
Absolutely
Lord.
My number 1. Look at this.
Look at the acrobatics. Look at the body control. That's how you do it.
Now we pick it up in the 4th quarter. Peyton Thorne drops back in the snow on 4th and 15. Throws up a 50-50 ball. It is caught for the back-breaking touchdown. Jaden Reed just doing great work there.
Who wants it more?
That
Simple
put them
as that.
Up 30-20 at the time. And he's just high pointing the football. And that's 2 guys, as everybody knows, that's watched any Michigan State games that have been playing together since middle school. You can see the connection there. Michigan State then holds on to win 30-27. And Mel Tucker, yeah, Tuck, yeah. 30-27 with the win. Michigan State goes to 10-2 on the year. If I'd have told Michigan State fans at the beginning of the year that they could go 10-2 this season with a win over Michigan, right now the only loss on Michigan's schedule was to Michigan State, like, man, kudos. But I mentioned it in the beginning. You're talking about two guys that got paid, and all I'm watching in there is thinking, like, for what? You know, and we've talked about this a lot. I understand going market, go out and get your bag. But in a world where $550 million were paid out in buyouts over a 10-year period, I keep looking at $75 million for Franklin and $95 million for Tucker and thinking, boy, what are your expectations to spend that kind of money?
And the expectations are high. The bar has been raised. Guys are getting paid. But it's all good because he got the win today at the end of the day, right? That's going to make him look good. And it was a game. First off, those Penn State jerseys had them looking like camouflage. Could you even see them?
I couldn't see
the time?
It's like the G.I. Joe all whites that they did for a little while. Like, I couldn't see any of that.
That was not fair. That was not fair in any way, shape, or form. But, hey, you've said this before. I know Ryan Day and Nick Saban and other guys are looking at it like, 9.5 million? I know I want some of that. But another thing that we talked about, and while we're on the discussion of coaches, USC and LSU still yet to find their guys. They need to be able to announce who their guys are at least by Monday, in my opinion, what I would say, because they're going to get behind in recruiting. And on top of that, those are such high caliber jobs where they still don't have somebody rumored to be there. I don't know.
I am genuinely curious to see what happens with one name we haven't heard more money coming into, and that's Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss. I mean, as good as Ole Miss has been. Auburn has just been sacked in overtime. We'll keep you updated. They got the ball first in double overtime at this point, so a sack knocks them back and brings up 4th and very long. So 17. They're going to be forced to go for a field goal to start the double overtime. So this is, the roll of the dice that you get when you get the ball first in either overtime session. It now comes down to you to figure out what the other team has to match. The kick is up, and the kick is good. So Auburn has taken a 3-point lead in double overtime. We'll keep you updated on the Iron Bowl, but we also going to get you some AAC football action. 10-1 Houston taking on 1-10 UConn right here in Hartford. We had to work, otherwise we would have gone to this juggernaut of a game. Alton McCaskill goes 31 to the house and says, oh, yeehaw, 7-0. Second quarter. First play of the second quarter. Jeremy Singleton with the one-handed grab.
Give me that!
I mean, he just tucks it into his body and then says, I shall outrun you, good sirs.
Nice grab.
I mean, this is...
Zoink.
I wonder if he screams, you're a basketball school while he does it. Houston with the ball again. Clayton Play-a-Tune finds Jake Herslow for the 49-yard score. 14-0. Then Clayton comes back here with another bomb, this time to Jeremy Singleton for a touchdown. Houston up 38-0. I mean, Houston wins this game in the end, 45-17. Dana Holgerson getting a lot of love there. 45-17, they head to the AAC championship game where we know who they'll be waiting. They're going to be awaiting this team, Cincinnati, because Cincinnati took care of business on Friday while you eating leftovers. Cincinnati was feasting on East Carolina. Desmond Ridder coming in saying, I can't get rid of these hunger pains. Perfect pass to Leonard Taylor. Stiff arms the defender and says, no, I get more stuffing.
That was a 5-piece chicken McNugget.
44-yard touchdown. Cincinnati up 7-3. Later in the second, give him a little extra credit for that reach. You keep celebrating, young men. Now we go later in the second. Ridder throws to the end zone. Says, who wants some leftovers?
Alec Pierce.
21-3. Bearcats take the lead at the half. We go to the fourth quarter when many of you were already in a food coma. East Carolina attempting a 35-yard field goal. And like that person that's trying to take more than their fair share of the pie, it's blocked. Now it's going the other way. Cincinnati goes up 28-6.
Wow, that was a great play by them. And look at Coach.
After the game,
it's okay. I love
Luke Fickell. Bearcats win 35-13. That gives them their 12-0 regular season finish. An undefeated regular season for Cincinnati. And I want to say, at least quickly, for all of the conversations that we have, Can we take a second and pause the college football playoff conversation and just acknowledge Cincinnati went undefeated. They won every game on their schedule.
2 years in a row.
They went 12-0. And I look at that and I'm like, man, you went 12-0. Like, before we start worrying about how everybody else judges it, look left to right at everybody that's part of that team and say, hell yeah, we went 12-0 and undefeated. Like, there has to be a point to that. Otherwise, all of this is pointless.
That is so true. And we say it every single week for those that tune in. At the end of the day, even if you're rumored to be better than the team, you look better on paper, that doesn't mean you're going to win the game. Look at Alabama right now. They're supposed to smack Auburn. They don't even have Bo Nix, and they're in overtime for the first time in this rivalry game. At the end of the day, you still have to beat the opponent in front of you, and that is not easy to do, and they've done that 2 years in a row now.
He said toot, just so that America hears it. He said toot. We are in double overtime waiting on Alabama to attempt a field goal, and I'm being a child. So things are normal here, not so normal in the Iron Bowl. AAC championship game, I will say quickly, Mike Oleg Jr. has said this for weeks on Rankings Reaction on Tuesday nights with me and Christine Williamson. Houston is a better defense than a lot of people realize. Houston will be the best team Cincinnati has played since Notre Dame, and Houston will be a substantial test for the Bearcats. This is a big opportunity to go out and just take care of business. If you're Cincinnati, just go out and take care of business.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what they need to do. Just win. At the end of the day, just win. We're going to talk all week about what does Cincinnati have to do in this game to stay within the top four. At the end of the day, just win your game, and I think that will take care of everything.
Well, as Nick Saban always says, just do your job, which is what just happened in Alabama. Is we have we are headed to more overtime. More free football!
Another one.
Another field goal has been made. The game is tied, and now it is going to the worst thing in all of sports. Worse than targeting. The Iron Bowl is going to be cited by a damn 2-point conversion play. Think about that. That is a college football playoff spot is going to be decided by 2-point playoffs. Like, we're just going to go 2-point for 2-point for 2-point. That is stupid. Sorry, I just had to get that off my chest.
How many more overtimes do you think we're going to? We've already hit 2, right?
Yeah, these aren't
I'm going to put the over under at 5.
We're going to get glorified like it's just everybody gets a ball at the 2-yard line. I'll keep complaining about it later. Let's get to Holy Cow. Let's play the cow and show some good plays while I keep complaining. Let's get to the banjos going.
Hey, there it is.
All right. You know what we do, Skubie. We get the big cow up behind us. We show everybody some of the best of the best from the day, and then we give it arbitrary scores that we feel are appropriate. Are you ready, good sire?
Yes, sir.
Well, we just saw it earlier, but let's show it again. I want to get your rating. You're the athlete in the room. Luke Fickle doing pull-ups.
I said I love the energy, but, Coach, you did not do one pull-up in that whole thing. I don't know what that was. Hold on, look.
Yeah, he's kipping all over the place. You can't use your legs, Coach.
Hey, I'm going to give you a 74 for that, Coach. I mean, I love the energy. I'll probably give you something worse if it wasn't for the energy than that.
I mean, just take like one of the Beachbody courses, and they'll tell you, use an assist strap. It helps. All right, just get your form right. Next up, how about this? What a catch. Cobbs makes a ridiculous one-handed catch against San Diego State.
I like that.
I mean, look at this again. He's over here, and he says, woo! I would like it.
Ooh,
I shall put the biscuit in the basket.
What you gonna give that, Fitz? What you gonna
I'm gonna give that hot buttery roll an 83. Man, I've got a lot of food on the brain, you know?
Ooh, you on one today.
Wow,
you on one. I see you big hungry out over here.
All right, let's go next to Texas Tech. Kalen Geiger.
We
making the catch over 2 Baylor defenders. Skubie, you're the former receiver in the room. I'll let you score this.
That's all concentration on the ball. He didn't care who was with him. It was just him and the ball in the entire stadium. I'm going to give that a 90. Well done.
Wow. All right. I like that.
Well done.
I like that. While we're giving out big scores, I think I'm going to put in a little fun here, too. How about this for concentration? Jackson Smith and Jigba with the one-handed catch.
We know what's coming.
Oh, while you're being interfered with. I mean, while you were basically being mugged on the street, you're like, I would like to squeeze this cranberry sauce onto the plate also.
More food by Fitz.
There we go. It's a constant thing today. You know what? Like good gravy on mashed potatoes, that gets a 99 from me. Make your gravy, by the way. Make your homemade gravy. It's worth the extra effort. All right. Let's go next to When They Go Low. Son Haskins here.
Look
at that.
Yeah, we knew what this one was.
Turbo button.
Jeez.
And then the high. Like,
is that the triangle or the Y button?
That's the triangle.
That's the triangle. Yeah. Smart man. That means you play PlayStation. As you should. It's better than Xbox. But nothing was better than this. What a play by Haskins. 5 touchdowns on the day as well. I'm going to get out of 92.
By the way, I'd play a PS5 if I could find one. My God. All right, and still angry about it. How about this? On a dime, Anthony Brown rolls out, throws a perfect pass to Devin Williams.
Wow.
It's pretty, right?
Money.
It's pretty average. I'm giving it a 77.
It's pretty, right? Pretty average.
It's pretty. I'm 77. You know what?
Fact, though.
Quarterback ran out. He was wide. You know, he had plenty of room, plenty of space to make the throw. And he made the throw to a wide open wide receiver.
We call that regular degular.
Yeah, I mean that's where we are at this point. All right, those are some holy cows for you. You're watching the College Football Show presented by AT&T 5G. Let's take a look at some of the notable scores. Georgia, 45-0. Cincinnati gets the big win. Ole Miss, you saw that, got the big win. Baylor with the dramatic win, and the Iron Bowl is in overtime.
Bama just converted on their 2-point conversion.
All right, so we're in 2-point conversion off. I'll yell about that again in a bit. But first, it's now time for our AT&T countdown to the CFB National Championship. Another huge Big Ten showdown today. The game between Ohio State and Michigan. Really, it's going to be called the Hassan Haskins game. Short touchdown for his first of the day. And then he says, you know what? Even more fun? I'd like 13. 13 yards. There we go. I'm not afraid of the lucky 13. And then he's like, how about another short one? This one seems a little easier. I don't need 13 yards. I'll just do it from here. And then he says, all right, you want a highlight reel? Whoop. Nice hurdle. And then if you're bored with all of that, swiggity spooty, he went for the booty one more time. Because why settle for one treasure chest when you can get 5 of them? Haskins had 5 touchdowns in the game. Michigan finally gets a win, 42-27. But instead of making this about all of the failures of Michigan against Ohio State in the past, I want to make this about the success of this Michigan team against this Ohio State team, because this Ohio State team had a very clear path to the college football playoff. And this Michigan team, no matter how we got here, came in and said, no, we will take that path. And that's exactly what happened. Like, that clear path now belongs to the Wolverines. All they have to do is take care of a business in the Big Ten Championship where they will be favored and they end up in the college football playoff.
Exactly. It's about as simple as that. But I worry sometimes that this game was so big and important to them, that it was their Super Bowl, that they might not have any left in the tank. So just continue to do your job, stick to what you're good at. The formula and everything in the box makes perfect for this game because it was bad weather. And in bad weather, the offense has an advantage, and they're going to run the ball. They have the better defense, a good pass rush. So I think everything was mixed up perfect for Michigan to win this game.
Well, and I'd love to see how Michigan continues to play moving forward. In the meantime, we will let you know Auburn, Alabama headed to overtime. Numero 4.
Another one.
So we'll keep you updated on the 2-point conversion playoffs that we now have. In the meantime, Wake Forest taking on Boston College. All right, so we got the first quarter. Sam Hartman. Look at that. Just the effort. Extra effort for the 6. Wake Forest goes up 7-0. Later in the first, Hartman finds his buddy A.T. Perry.
Perry.
Going A.T. I should have said the band Perry. It would have been an appropriate A.T. the band Perry. All right, Deacons extend their lead. Third quarter, Wake Forest looking to put the Eagles away. Put this on Hartman's mixtape. Rolls left, drops a dime here.
Look at that, on the run. Find his guy.
Hartman finishes with 4 touchdowns, 1 on the ground. Wake Forest absolutely decimates BC 41-10 and clinches a spot in the ACC championship game. Congratulations to Wake Forest as they get that opportunity to play for a conference title. Speaking of conference titles, Oregon's still sitting around saying, what happened? The battle for the platypus, Eugene, Oregon.
Get in the spirit, Eugene.
Anthony Brown finds Devin Williams. This was my 77 just a minute ago. Puts Oregon up 14-0. It was a nice play.
It was pretty, but it was
it's pretty
regular.
It's pretty regular, but those jerseys not regular at all. Those are fancy. Second quarter, Brown keeps it for himself here. Says, you know what? Oh, turbo button.
So athletic.
Reach for it.
Look how close this is, too.
Oregon goes up 17-3. That's full Superman. That's what it's called. And in my mind, they always say up, and away when it happens. Fourth quarter, Anthony Brown gives it to Brian Cardwell, runs it all the way to the 1. Oregon scores on the following drive. That puts them up 38-17. 24-21. Oregon proves to be way too much for Oregon State. They win it 38-29. Truly dominating win for Oregon. And this has got to be what's sickening for Oregon fans as they try and figure out what might have been through this season. Anthony Brown, absolutely great work by him. Efficient day from Travis Dye also.
Alabama just won.
All right, next up we got Florida State. Both teams need a win to be bowl eligible. Tempers flaring pregame.
Oh, man.
First quarter, no
I love
score.
rivalry week.
Emory Jones hits Gamble on the sideline. Oh, we haven't gotten there. Emory Jones, now we'll get there. Throws the deep ball.
Right in the pocket.
Gamble on the sideline, sheds the defender, goes to the house, 47 yards. Gators up 7-0. Second quarter tied at 7. Gators inside the 10. Right to the FSU defender for the pick. Get down to the end zone. Don't be a hero. Great play. Gators fans not happy. An array of emotions here, though. Look at that. Look at that. And then this guy. Sees him. Oh, yeah. Told him exactly how he felt.
What finger was that, Fitz?
Just summed up the entire thing. Third quarter, Anthony Richardson to Justin Shorter, who says, I may be shorter, but I'm tall enough to make this catch. Woo! Look at it. The fancy handshake.
Hey, the celebration.
I do like that celly. We need one of our own for a big win.
Nice play.
Beautiful play by Shorter. Celebrate, young men. Florida is bowl eligible. And what has been a weird year for Florida State, they go down in this matchup 24-21. Florida will at least get the chance, no matter who their coach is, to play for another game. So good work by them. We do want to get you caught up. It's over. The Iron Bowl is over. After 4 overtimes, Alabama wins 24-22 in the 2-point conversion playoff that goes play to play to play. Alabama able to get it done. Auburn could not. The Tide get the 24-22. Huge, huge win. Oh, we've celebrated the good, but now it's time for bruh, delivered by pizza. I don't know why we're singing themes to it, but we're going to give you some of the most questionable moments from the world of college football today, and we're not talking about my Santa Claus cat shirt. All right, let's start with Florida. Trick plays can be awesome when they go right, but then sometimes they go wrong. Flea Flicker, they took that straight out of the Sparty playbook, but oops. Bro, you got to throw it to your own team when you do all that trickery.
Hey, man, the title says it all. Stick to the fundamentals. When you can't do that, don't do too much.
It's fair. I mean, they did try to get fancy, but here's your one chance fancy, you let me down. All right, Liberty kicker Max Morgan attempted to fool Army with a pass instead of a kick, but this is Army. Like, you don't fool Army.
Oh, my Lord. Hey, Fitz, is it every week we're going to have a kicker or a punter on bruh? Because y'all not athletic, bruh. Stop making them do stuff that they don't know how to do.
Can we also just acknowledge the fact that, like, his form throwing the ball was questionable? All right, last 2 minutes of NC State. We'll start with this play. Tony Grimes, expecting fellow DB to be in the coverage behind him. He wasn't. That left Emeka Amizi wide open. Bruh, you got to cover somebody.
Bruh, that's what they call a mental mistake. You ain't focused, play defense.
Questionable one here. Also, how about this? Same game, NC State kicker Chris Dunn recovers his own onside kick.
Hey, man, I did say we put kickers and punters here every week, but right there is an athletic play. Way to make up for all the kickers right there by hitting it yourself.
That's called, but we're broing the fact that it even happened, because how do you let a kicker do that?
That's what makes it even worse, Fitz.
Let's move next to Old Dominion, and I don't mean the band. Hayden Wolf throws the ball in the back of the center. Bruh, I was on a boat. That's an Old Dominion song. It's just it's a reference. Old Dominion with the bruh.
Oh, man, that is just tough right there. I don't know what you're doing, but bruh, do better.
And then we've got one more bruh for you, and that's Southern Mississippi defensive lineman proposing to his girlfriend on senior day. Oh, it just gets down.
I thought we were bruh people for bad stuff, but you know what? I'm a bruh this man for good stuff, because bruh, congratulations to you and your lady.
And bruh, anytime it's a day that's supposed to be about you and you take it and make it about her, that's a great sign that you're headed for great things. That was bruh, delivered by pizza. I don't know, we're trying to make it a whole thing. That's some bruh delivered by Pizza Hut. I'm broing us for that entire song attempt. But still, LSU up over Texas A&M early right now in that game. But remember, we almost forget, that's going to be Coach O's last regular season game on the sideline, or last game on the sideline for LSU. Syracuse up on Pittsburgh early. That's a bit of a shocker. And Clemson up. But most importantly for most of you, Bedlam has just kicked off. So we're going to get a look in at that while we see how Oklahoma State, Oklahoma is playing out. Oklahoma State with the ball on their first possession. Hence the 15 minutes on the clock in the first quarter. And like any good rivalry week game, it just starts with the penalty. Like, why not give it a double start? The Skubie, I am still shooketh by the overtime outcome of the Iron Bowl. It is just, this is what makes rivalry week so incredible. Like, these games just have so much meaning to the states, to the teams in them, to the communities around them. Like, it hits so different when you see this sort of thing. And knowing that even if Oklahoma State didn't have playoff implications, and it does, it has such life implications for the next 365 days for both of these fans. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah, and it's just been an absolute great week to watch all this action. And that game with Alabama to go in 4 overtimes. I mean, this is the first time ever that an AP Top 5 team played in a game to go at least 4 overtime periods. So we're seeing things that we usually don't see. We've seen the second-ranked team in the country. It's almost as if you have that second-ranked position, you're in trouble, because we see them fall, 2 or 3 times this year?
Yeah. I mean, nobody wants to be number 2. That's for sure. Ooh.
Third down.
3rd and 5. And one of the interesting things to me early in these games, doesn't matter which one we've watched all week, these games start incredibly explosive because everybody has so much energy. And it feels like in the first quarter and a half, you've got explosive. And then we use these Madden analogies all the time on the show. It's one of our favorite things. But it's almost like they start to run out of turbo. And eventually you start to see the game normalize a little bit. And so I always think it's interesting to see who can survive the first 10 minutes of a rivalry matchup when you know how fast everybody's playing.
Yeah, most definitely. You see it right here. You made a great point. Look how fired up they are in Oklahoma. And this is one of those games, although they're technically in enemy territory, it's evened out over here. And it's going to be one of those games where both sides are going to feel the intensity of the crowd.
And you're almost sitting there saying, can you manage the intensity and not make a mistake? And I'm not saying anybody plays safe, but I do think there's a moment of like, can I manage this and make sure that I stay within whatever the game is giving me? That's such a trick for kids. And we saw it earlier during the game. We were watching Michigan, Ohio State, and one of the players was talking about the fact that they grew up, their first memories were of the hatred in that matchup. And you think about how real it is for a kid being on the field. If you grew up in Oklahoma and you grew up, this game was life. And now you're on the field for it, controlling your adrenaline for that's real for a kid that's like, hey, I grew up yelling at my TV on this every year, and now I'm being yelled at. Like, that's such a different world.
And the first 10 minutes of this game is important. You mentioned having so much energy, right? You and I do the Tom Brady Man in the Arena after show. When Tom Brady was in the huddle, in the tunnel before his first Super Bowl, he was getting all hyped up with Drew Bledsoe, and they were hitting each other. And then Willie McGinnis had to go up to Tom Brady and be like, listen, calm down. You're going to waste a lot of energy before this game starts because we need you focused. So it's important to not only have that energy, but be able to direct it in the right place and be able to direct it in the game and use it the right way.
Which is such an interesting thing to me on how many former athletes I talk to, that their hype-up music before games is classical music because they find that they get too hyped. So, like, trying to find guys, Damian Woody's one that has said that before. Harry Douglas has talked about that, like finding the right playlist that gets you hyped but then also normalizes you. Because if you go in too hyped with too much adrenaline, then you play outside of the person you're supposed to play as. So I think that it's really key when you look at these matchups and see how they survive it.
Yeah, definitely. You got to stay to what you practice. Remember what you practice. Remember your training. And Fitz, we talked about it earlier. Use Caleb Williams. Can he throw the ball in this game?
Oh, receiver had a step.
And that matchup with the DBs and the wide receivers for Oklahoma and Oklahoma State is going to be one to watch. I mean, check out the quick feet on the sideline. What I would have liked to see from the receiver here is give more room to the sideline for your quarterback to drop that ball in. So he kind of only gave Caleb Williams 1 yard toward the sideline. That's a tough window for him to throw into.
Yeah, make sure that you watch this game on ABC. If you're watching in the ESPN app, you can just authenticate and you can stick right here in the app all night to watch all of your college football action. It's honestly a great way on Saturdays to watch all of our different games. Now, while you're watching games on Saturdays, you're probably eating a snack. And I had the opportunity to hang out with my buddy, Harry Douglas, as we figured out, even in Feast Week, a week of food and comas and food babies, that, sometimes you need some help with some of the basic tailgates. And we're going to do that now. It's time for our food tour presented by Twisted Tea.
I love these.
All right, everybody makes nachos. It's a staple, but, it's something for me. Harry, I didn't come from much, right? So I like to be able to make simple, easy nachos that are elevated. And you got to make stuff last second sometimes. So there's a couple little tricks.
Simplicity is the best sometimes.
Now, we're going to pray for Harry here because there's a little bit of heat to this. I got the little jalapenos. They're not bad. They're not bad. And it's mild salsa because the salsa's mild. The baby is not. So, we'll make sure that we work this out. Now, chicken over here. This is one of the big tricks for me.
I love me some chicken now.
And the easiest
I love me some chicken.
Well, this is going to be good. I promise you.
I love me some chicken.
Do you? How do you feel about chicken?
Chicken wing spot everywhere.
The thing for me is get a rotisserie chicken. That's such an easy way to do last second. Everybody's coming over, I want the game. So I get rotisserie chicken, you gut it, you take all of the meat off the rotisserie chicken, you throw it in the food storage bag, and you add two important things to it. One, everybody uses a different type of cola, but I like to use cola that is the zero sugar cola because particularly as it sits on the meat, it gives it a little cinnamon, a little sweet. It's it all comes together with that. So everybody's different. I know down in Atlanta, you guys like to use regular cola. I like to use the zero sugar cola particularly. Okay, so now then the next thing, and I know this is gonna freak everybody out, trust me. Every time I tell my friends I'm doing this, they all look at me like I've lost my mind, and then everybody loves it. Pesto. You can just buy your own little jar of pesto from the store, and all you gotta do is throw it on the chicken. This is all just.
But this looks like spinach. You sure this is not spinach dip or something?
The pesto is not spinach. It's basil, olive oil, a little bit of garlic, and some pine nuts, right? So it's typically an Italian thing, but I'm telling you, even though you're asking yourself why I'm doing this on Mexican nachos, it works. Trust me, try it, you'll love it, and then you will thank me later.
It smells good, though.
Thank you. See, I made it myself. No, I didn't. I opened a jar. That's all I did. See, that's what makes this easy. Why don't you put some chips in the bowl while I'm mixing the pesto up with the chicken?
Oh, are you saying I am useless at this point?
No, I'm just saying maybe, instead of making me quarterback this whole thing, you can do a little bit of work. You see what I did there, quarterback, wide receiver? All right, I'm going to add a little bit more
some
pesto.
Chips in the bowl.
What, you being scrimpy with the chips? I've seen you eat, son. All right, there we go. That's good. Now, here, you want to try a little piece of this?
Nope, I'm putting chips in the bowl like you asked.
Okay, this is why you can't, pray for me. That's all I ask here. Tell you what, just take a little, just dip your fingers in there. Take a little piece of that chicken out, whatever you want. Little piece, try it. Tell me what you think. Only if you like it. If you don't like it, then don't tell anybody.
That's really good.
So, thank you. All right, so the chicken's here. We're actually going to put the chicken on last. Just a little can of corn.
Oh, now listen.
You in on the corn?
I
Just
love
stick your
corn.
fingers in there, Harry. That's fine. We're just all family here.
I am very, very high on corn.
Okay, well, that's good. Then you know what? Since you like corn and you're hard to please, I'm just going to put all of this corn on there. Is that good for you?
That's my boy.
All right, now, just because I want to make you a little uncomfortable, we're going to do just a little bit of jalapeno. Are you good with that? No, you're not good with
Definitely
this at
not
all,
good with
but
that.
we're going to do it anyway. And I'm just going to chop it.
Look at you in your little chef
It's
mode.
a little tiny.
Look at you with that knife. You know what you're doing, don't you?
You're the master chef in HD. I'm just the one that's
something.
getting it done with this
Just
tiny
in case
knife.
y'all know, my daughter calls me Old Goat Chef. Yes, you know what GOAT stands for, the greatest of all time.
I thought it was because you were bad. All right, I'll move along.
Get this guy out of here.
You come for the recipes, you stay for the dad jokes. I'm just going to sprinkle some of that on there so that you can eat around it. Trick, if you don't like a lot of heat, you can also take the seeds out. For anyone that doesn't know, that will make it less spicy. Now, because I know that you only like the finer things in life, we've got some shredded cheese here that is really beautiful and nice and going to be delightful.
Okay.
But I also know that sometimes, you just don't have the time, the need, the want, and sometimes you just wish you were in a stadium. Why are stadium nachos different? Stadium nachos are different because they don't use real cheese. They use cheese product. So we're going to bring the stadium to you with gloppy cheese
that is
product.
The best cheese.
Oh, we've got so many people in the room right now that are just cringing. It wasn't the pesto that got them. It's the cheese product.
The best cheese right there.
Look at that. All right, now we're going to need the magic of television. You'll notice we got a couple of things left: the salsa and the sour cream. Don't be a savage. Put those on at the end. So we're gonna. If you wanted to be really bougie, you could throw this in an oven. We're gonna throw this in a version of an oven known as a microwave oven. All right, Harry, here we have it.
My. It sure looks good tonight.
Okay, well, it
you
would
didn't know
look
I had
better.
those vocals, did you?
No,
See?
I didn't.
Music
I
man.
felt pretty good
Music
about
man.
that. Felt pretty good about that. I didn't feel pretty good about my memory with actually putting the chicken on. Some people would have put that in before they went to the oven, but we're going to pretend. That's why we're not on food TV, okay? We don't remember these things. In the meantime, we're going to put the chicken on now. Are you feeling it? Are you feeling frisky? Are you feeling froggy?
I got to give you props, though.
Okay.
This really looks really good right now.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
This looks good right
Now, here's what
now.
we're going to do.
Lord.
Well, are you anti-sour cream?
Oh, man.
Are you? Oh, my God.
No,
All right.
I'm just saying, oh, man.
I'm just going to force Harry to embrace some things like salsa. I'm not giving him a choice since we're eating it right now. And then we're going to go here. And this is what, for me personally, I like to put the salsa on. But then as you take a bite, dip it in the sour cream. All right? Dip away. You're my guest. You may have the first bite. No, he's not going to do it. Yeah, come on. Get a little of the cheese in there. Get a little of the chicken in there. Maybe
Yes. Look at this. This is really good.
Piece of chicken on that. Uh-huh.
I think you'll get some chicken, though.
Mm-hmm. Just dig in there with your fingers. You've been doing it the whole time anyway.
Let me get some more cheese on there with some
My God.
corn.
You gonna try the sour cream? You're gonna be a big boy and try out sour cream for the first time?
I'm gonna try sour cream.
Harry gonna be a big grown up. Try out sour cream.
Bro.
It works, right? All right, that's your fancy, fun, easy, and cheap nachos that you can make for everybody, really quick, and make a great tailgate experience out of it. I'm dipping in the sour cream. I don't care what you do. Can't talk cheese and not talk Wisconsin. Minnesota taking on Wisconsin for the right to face Michigan in the Big Ten championship game. Second quarter, Tanner Morgan. Gonna drop back here. The pass. It's up in the air. Scott, Coach Nelson makes a house call.
And you think at
26
this point Wisconsin has this game in the bag, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I thought the whole way Wisconsin was going to take care of business and find themselves in the Big Ten championship game. But Kai Thomas takes it in from 2 yards out.
And they started to roll the boat.
Minnesota takes a 13-10 lead. Now we pick it up. Morgan completes the pass to Chris Autumn-Bell, who takes it 27 yards around the corner for the score. Gophers go up 20-13, and you're right. They row the boat gently down the stream. Easy to row the boat, but don't use Paul Bunyan's axe on it when you do it. Minnesota goes on to win 23-13, which, it should be noted, means Iowa will have the opportunity now to play in the Big Ten championship game.
Wow.
Again, just when we thought Iowa was
Shout
dead,
out to my people in Iowa.
Iowa's back for a Big Ten championship game.
All right, now it's time for Routed, and what it simply means is we're going to show you what the best wide receivers in the country did when they were running their routes, and let me tell you, it was a work of art. So let's get to our first one. Look at the bottom of the screen. Western Michigan Sky Moore says, give me some more. 12 catches, 206 yards, and 4 touchdowns in this game. He ran a slant route with some extra sauce on the side. Fitz, let me show you. The quick feet and the hard stab has got you routed. Get him out of here. That's how you do it, and that's how you got him looking goofy. Way to stab to the outside and getting turned around, and he's on the sideline just chilling with his boys, dapping him up like a smooth criminal. Up next, lock your eyes to the top of the screen. UConn's Kevins Clarcius says, you can't see us. The key is the stab to the outside. You know, you want to stab in the direction you're not going in and explode off of it. And sir, you've been routed. He's going left, I'm going right, and he tosses the ball up and check out the catch. Give me that. Way to play well. 34-yard touchdown for UConn's Kevin Clarcius. You like that one, Fitz?
That one was beautiful.
All right,
that was
now
beautiful.
ring the bell. Now, here's one that was cold. Top of the screen, Barron Peters fakes a pass on the out. Isaiah Williams wide open for the touchdown. This is why you go 100% every play. The breakdown, acting like he's about to block. The DB sees the route. He explodes up, but no, sir, you have been routed, and I am going for 6. Throw that up. 7 catches, 113 yards, and a TD for Isaiah Williams. Now that is a work of art.
I just like that I got to scream routed with you. All right, before we get out of here, we like to rank things arbitrarily. Today I decided I would rank the best 4 trophies of rivalry week, and this one was pretty tough to do. I mean, there's a lot of good trophies.
These are some hard trophies, bro. I like what you got.
I went at number 4, TCU SMU, Iron Skillet. Look, I've always wanted to cast iron skillet.
I would cook out of that.
There's a lot of, they take a lot of care, though. You got to oil them. You can't, clean them the regular way. But still, an Iron Skillet just feels like it's such a strong trophy. At number 3, the Golden Egg. We all know that one coming in from Ole Miss, Mississippi State. I love. There's just something about the Golden Egg that feels right. Number 2, Paul Bunyan's axe. It's 6 feet long. Here's the question, though. They used to give out until the 40s a slab of bacon, and they stopped giving out the slab of bacon trophy. Why they don't now have a massive slab of bacon that they cut with Paul Bunyan's axe, so you get the axe and the bacon? I don't know. If they had done that, they'd be number 1, but they're not. Because the platypus is obviously number 1. Hear me out.
The platypus, though, come on, bro.
It's Oregon versus Oregon State, all right? So it's the beavers versus a duck. What do you get when you combine a beaver and a duck? You get a platypus.
Oh, okay.
Plus, look at the trophy. Easy to hold. You can just take one end on each side and just, boop, you can pop it up. It feels like it's good. You go with my list?
I would put Paul Bunyan's first because that one go hard. I mean, it's like a weapon and a trophy at the same time.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. And by the way, I'm not done complaining about overtime and why it stinks in college football.
Agreed.
But kudos to Alabama for getting the win. No matter how you get a win on rivalry week, that's all that matters.
Rivalry week.
Rivalry week, I spend all year practicing saying. So I'm just proud I got through it, right? So at the end of the day, that's the best I can do. We hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. We hope your holiday weekend is safe. Make good decisions. He's Skubie Mageza. I'm Jason Fitz. Takes a whole bunch of us that sacrifice a lot to do this show for you. We thank everybody behind the scenes that gave up their holiday to work their butts off on this show. Thanks for hanging out with us. It's a college football show presented by AT&T 5G.